another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. How are you? If you are a new viewer, I am so excited that you are here. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back to spend a little bit of crafty time with me. It is Tuesday, which is really early for me to record a podcast. It's actually been less than 2 weeks. But there's something going on every single night this week from now until Saturday. So this is the only day that I can possibly get the podcast in for it to go live for you on Saturday morning. And it's not like I don't have a ton of things to talk about, right? Okay, a couple of things before we get started. One, it is thundering outside. So if you hear any ridiculous crashing, it's been pouring all day. Number two, I had a strategically placed cup of black tea at work today at like 3 p.m. and it's still, the caffeine is still here, but I have like this kind of a cold thing going on. Like I don't really have a cold because I don't have a fever. I'm not like coughing up any goo. There's none of that going. Just like my head hurts a little bit, my throat hurts a little bit, and I'm like a little sniffly. Don't worry, you can't catch germs through the television. So I feel like I'm gonna be taking a lot of sips of water. It's been like this for 3 days now. Like, I mean, it's better than not being actually sick. That would be worse, but I'm a little annoyed with it by now. So if I have to pause, that's why. And I'm currently all alone in the house. This never happens. It's not gonna last. My husband's outside working out, so he's gonna come in at some point and make noise. My brother's girlfriend and the baby are gonna come home. My brother's gonna come home. So there's probably gonna be some background noise, and I do apologize. There's nothing I can do about it. If you're looking for me anywhere on the interwebs, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram. That is where I hang out pretty much all the time. I post on stories. I usually post like an actual photo once a week-ish, but on stories I post like every day. Also on Facebook, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, inquiries related to the podcast specifically, please shoot me an email. My email address is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. And then of course we do have a Ravelry group for this podcast. The link is directly down below. And we have make-alongs running. Well, currently we have one make-along. I am about to tell you of some new ones, but first, let's announce some prize winners because we have the Year of the Sock 2019. Hashtag Year of the Sock 2019. So that is an informal sock make-along for the entire year of 2019, and I have been pulling prizes quarterly. And so I have the third quarter prizes ready. So I have the prize that I randomly drew, and then I actually have a prize for the crocheted sock as well. So I actually have 2 prizes to give away this quarter. And for the grand prize, there's gonna be something spectacular, so just hold your horses until January. So the first prize I have to announce is number 318. Your Ravelry username is Philippa MC, I believe. Excuse me. You are Philippa from Portugal, and I have already sent you a message on Ravelry. Please do respond to that message and give me your mailing address and your full name, and I will get this prize in the mail. What you have won is a skein of pink hedgehog fibers sock yarn. I believe this is a 75-25 blend, but the tag is like way in there. This was donated by a lovely friend, Deb. In fact, both of these prizes were both of the yarns, and I'm just so excited to be able to send this to you. So it is this glowing pink, which I love. You will also get 1 spool of reinforcement thread. So this is for toes, heels, or anywhere else in your sock that you have a little extra wear and tear. This is the reinforcement thread. Now, I don't know if it's gonna go super well with pink, but you could use it on any sock. And you will lastly get a CALS 9-inch circular 2.25 millimeter sock needle. This is what I use. It's a little, this comes from my personal stash, so it's a little banged up. The needle is fine. The case is what's had a hard life. The needle is stainless steel, so it's totally fine. So this is what you have won. And the second prize I actually drew specifically just from the people who have posted crocheted socks in the thread. And the post that won is number 405. Your name is Bruna Mello. I believe that's how you are pronouncing it. You are also Bruna from Portugal. How crazy is it that both random ones came from Portugal? I'm pretty sure the last giveaway I drew, every single prize, and there was a bunch of them, all were in the United States except for one. And then this time I randomly drew 2 people in Portugal. So I will happily ship to you. It's no big deal. Please just respond with your address to the Ravelry message. You'll have 2 weeks to get back to me. And then I will draw another winner if you do not get back to me. So what you have won is this skein of Sweet Georgia yarn in this beautiful green. I believe this is some kind of merino nylon blend as well, but I can't pull the tag out. I may reskein this, but actually what else you have won is this pin that says crochet socks, and this is from Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast. She does all of these pins, and she has a beautiful Etsy store, which I will link directly down below, and this is why it is a crochet prize, because you have made crochet socks. So do send me your addresses, and I will get these prizes out in the mail to you. And I can't wait to share with you what the prizes will be for the grand 4th quarter prize. I have partnered with Hobbii yarn, and hopefully we are going to do something pretty spectacular. So that is the year of the sock. You can join in. All you have to do is post on Ravelry or use the hashtag on Instagram to be eligible for prizes. And it's just informal. Do whatever you want. Knit socks, crochet socks, just make socks for the entire year of 2019. Let's see. If you can hear that. That's my husband just came in and he's going that way. So I'm distracted now. Anyways, I took a break from make-alongs for the month of September, which has actually been like, by the time you see this video, it'll be like a month and a half. That's okay, I needed it. But we are back. We are gonna do some make-alongs, and I have 2 make-alongs to announce, both of which will go until the end of November. The first one, everyone loves a good Halloween make-along, don't you? But not everyone celebrates Halloween, and I don't think it necessarily, you don't have to be spooky to be a part of this make-along, because what this make-along is called is the Villains Mal. Now, this is not an original idea. Plenty of people have done make-alongs, crochet-alongs, etc. for villains. However, we're gonna do one too, because it's fun and it's October. So this will go from now, from the time you are watching this video, until November 30th, so right after Thanksgiving. The only requirement for the Villains Mal is that you can justify how it is related to a villain. So it can be any kind of villain. It could be a Disney villain. It could be a Star Wars villain. It could be a villain in Supernatural. It could be a Scooby-Doo villain. It doesn't matter to me what kind of villain at all. You just have to be able to justify it. So the yarn has to be related somehow, or the pattern has to be related somehow, or the color has to inspire you. There's not a lot of rules, there just has to be a villain involved, and I highly recommend that you bend the rule as much as possible. As long as you can justify how this is related to a villain, you can enter it in. You can knit, you can crochet, you can sew, you can spin, you can weave, you can do whatever you want as long as it's a fiber art, and it has to be related to a villain. I'm very excited about this. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the Villains Mal, but I am super excited to be a part of it. And the second make-along that we will be starting is the Vanya Cowl. This is a cowl with a C-A-L because it is a crochet pattern, and even though I've never done this before, I am so excited about this pattern release that I'm actually going to run a make-along for this pattern specifically. This is the Vanya Cowl. It is finished. It's my only finished object because it is live now on Ravelry. This is a brand new pattern that I am releasing. In fact, I'm gonna take this off and put this on. So it's just a very lightweight, I made this in lace weight yarn. You can make it in fingering weight yarn, that's totally fine. Your measurements will change, but it's a repeat, so I'll tell you how to do that in the pattern. I've never done a make along for one of my patterns before, but I'm really excited about this one. I had a lot of testers for this one and they all just loved making it. I didn't have any complaints from any of them really about the pattern at all, which was weird for me because normally the testers come back and they're like, this is wrong and this is a typo, and I sent it off, and I even sent it off to tech editing and then got it back and there was hardly anything that was noticed, so excited about that. This pattern is inspired by Vanya Hargreaves, who is a character in the TV show The Umbrella Academy. So she is super she's a very fragile, delicate person. She's very mentally unstable. She has a lot of issues, but she's also the one with the most superpowers. And so I thought of lace weight yarn. That's why this is called the Vanya Cowl, because it is super delicate and lacy, but I'm showing it to you upside down. But it's also very strong. Lace weight yarn is very strong. So here you have the lace panels and then these textured panels in between. And I have done 4 repeats, but you can do as many repeats as you want. And I'm just loving wearing this. This is made out of Fat Bunny yarn in her petal base, which is 100% silk. It is the colorway Dahlia. I just love it so much. This is what I was wearing to work all day. This is my Treasure Island shawl. It's a one skein project. Anyways, I'm gonna wear this now because I'm very excited. The Vanya Cowl will run from now until November 30th. It has the same time frame. If you are a tester of my pattern and you have made the Vanya Cowl, I want you to be able to participate as well. So you can definitely enter this make along. There will be prizes, of course. The hashtag is Vanya Cowl. And there is a coupon code. So you will get a coupon code for $1 off, and actually I'm going to make this valid until the end of October so that if anyone wants to participate in the make along, you can absolutely do that. So normally when I release a pattern, I have $1 off for 1 week. This is going to be $1 off for 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks until October 31st. The promotion will run. So all you have to do is use the code Vanya Cowl, which I will put on the screen. And I will put the code directly down below with a link to the pattern. If you use that code, it will give you $1 off until October 31st, which is exciting. And I really, 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 really can't wait to see all of your Vanya Cowls. I've never done a crochet along with one of my patterns, so I'm kind of nervous about it. Please make it. Anyways, I'm very excited to announce that this is released. It's live on Ravelry. I'm just so thrilled. Special thank you to my testers, who I could definitely not do this without, and my tech editor, who is Crafty Escapism. You are fabulous. Basically, you just put this on and it zhuzhes up an outfit, just gives you a little pizzazz. And gives you some fuzz in your face. Not from this, okay? There's just yarn brings fuzz. Y'all know that. So we have 2 make-alongs starting right now. Villain's Mal, you can do any fiber craft you want, goes until November 30th. Vanya Cowl, you can make this pattern specifically, coupon code Vanya Cowl until October 31st to get $1 off this pattern. And there will be prizes for all of them. So thank you very much to the generosity of all of the viewers who have sent anything along to support this podcast, because I will be dispersing some prizes in the end of November, just in time for Christmas. You'll be getting some happy mail. So I am very, very, very excited about that. Shall we talk about some things that have been made? Okay, I have not had a lot of time to knit or crochet this past almost 2 weeks. So the last time I recorded was on a Wednesday. I had that Thursday night. I had a little bit of time to crochet. Friday and Saturday, booked solid for sure. And then that Sunday, we left on our cruise. We were gone for 7 days. I took 1 crochet project and 1 knitting project. The knitting project got 2 rows done on it, and the crochet project, I have a massive amount of progress to show you, and actually I'm really excited. I'm gonna save it for last because you haven't seen it in so long. And since being home on Sunday, it's only been 2 days. It's been 3 days since I've gotten home, and I have had very little time. But as I said last time, if I put 1 stitch on it, it's going in the podcast, right? So I have some time to work. I should have some time to crochet tomorrow, which I'm excited about as well. My plan for tonight, because it's Tuesday, it's 5:40 p.m. right now, is to record this podcast. I have a little snack on the way home, so I could do this immediately. And then while this is importing to my computer, I'm gonna make tacos. And then I'm gonna eat the tacos while editing this video. And then while this video is processing, I have some work to do for the class I'm teaching that starts next week. In case you don't know, I work at a law firm full-time, but I'm also an adjunct professor of theology at a school. So I have 1 class that's ongoing It's already been like 8 weeks, and I have another class, an in-person class. Normally I do online, that's starting next Tuesday night. So I've got to prep for that, and then I'm gonna do that, and then I have some other projects that I need to work on, and hopefully at like 9:30 p.m. I'll get a couple of stitches done on my sock before I go to bed. That's my plan. What was I saying? I was talking about yarn, yes? So I don't have any finished objects. The only thing that's even close to a finished object is this, which was finished already, but it's officially finished now that it's released on Ravelry. I'm going to start with the year of the sock and show you the tiny, tiny amount of progress that I have done. So last time you saw this sock, this is Hobbii yarn, which they sent me several balls of this to review. They sent me 6 balls of sock yarn. This is their Mayflower yarn in the colorway Lavender Field. This is where I was last time. I had the cuff done. So since you've seen this, I have done the heel and approximately an inch. Not even. That's all I've managed to do on this sock. This is what the yarn looks like. And I did already have one sock finished. So this gray heel is just some Knit Pick Stroll in like gray that I had laying around in my stash because I didn't think I was gonna have quite enough to do a contrast, to do an entire sock out of 25 grams. So this is what the finished sock looks like. So trucking along, I am honestly getting a little bit bored of these socks. It has nothing to do with the yarn. It's just, they're taking so long because I have so little time to work on them. I used to be able to knit at work, but now I have a zero job and I can't do that anymore. So my sock production has gone like way down, and I just wish that I just want to get through these socks and then start a new pair of socks. I'm having second sock syndrome halfway through the second sock. The next thing I will show you is one of the projects that I took on the cruise. It's the knitting project. It is one you have not seen in a very long time, and you probably won't see for another very long time. It is the Transitions shawl. That is a pattern by Hand Knit by Cam. I am through row 106, and there is 197 rows. So right now I have about 300-ish stitches, and it's going to get all the way to, I don't know how many, let's see, almost 600. So every row is taking longer and longer and longer, but it hasn't been touched in a while because all of my knitting time has been going to my husband's sweater, which is going to happen again, but I did not take that on the cruise. So the yarn that I'm using is this Valley Yarns Charlemont. It's a 60% superwash merino, 20% silk, and 20% nylon in these colors. So there's a light gray, a dark gray, a light green, and a dark green. And this is so beautiful. This is definitely a long-term project because every row takes forever. This is where I was last time. So actually I did more than a couple rows. I think I must have done like 8 rows on this. So I did that in the green, and I just started this next light gray stripe. So it is kind of like a half a hexie shawl, and it has these eyelet panels. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. And because it's so beautiful is the only reason I'm still working on it, because the yarn is beautiful. The yarn itself splits like, it's very loosely plied. It splits like nobody's business. I do not understand why it splits so much, but I cannot knit on this and not look. I have to look at what I'm doing because like what, it will split. It splits so much, but it's so soft, and it's that beautiful merino and silk, and it's just shiny and gorgeous. And I put 8 rows on it while we were on a cruise, sitting on a balcony. So I can't complain. I think that project will be with me for a very long time, and I'm probably gonna throw a party when it's done, like legitimately. Let's finish the knitting. I have one more knitting project, which, as you can guess, is my husband's sweater. All of the yarn is living in my tote bag. And what I am doing is making the Gramps sweater. Let's see if I can. This is a pattern by Tin Can Knits. It is a paid for pattern, but it was highly worth the money. The yarn I am using is Valley Yarns. Again, I'm on a webs kick. Superwash DK. So I have some light gray and some navy. So this gray is going to be for the trim and the cuffs and the button band. I am currently 3 balls in to the yoke, and I have done 4 rows since we last talked. That's where I was, and this is where I am now. I am only at about 9 inches, or right over 9 inches, so I need to work another inch, which is probably another 6 rows or a little more, maybe more, I don't know. I need to work another inch to get to the measurements, and of course this is very scrunched up, but if I spread it out this way, at least I'm not increasing anymore. This is what the sleeve cap looks like. You can see the beautiful increases. So I stretched it out and I kind of put it on my husband's shoulder this morning, and I was like, yeah, I definitely need to get another inch out of this before I split for the sleeves, which is heartbreaking because that means I have to purl all of these stitches, which is a pain, but it's so pretty. So I'm going to try to put 2 rows on this a day. That probably won't happen, but if I can get to the sleeve split by the next time we talk, we will be in business. That's my goal. That's all I want to do is get to the split for the sleeves. I feel like it'll go so much faster. I'll be like minus 100 stitches after that. It'll go so much faster. Onto the crochet. So I've only done 1 row in this project, and it makes me eternally sad because this is the one I didn't want to take it on the cruise because it was just so big and bulky, but I love it. This is what I'm going to be working on tomorrow. Tomorrow night I have some relaxation scheduled in my life. Of course, it is the Ariana cardigan that is a pattern by Vicky Chan. It is paid for, but it is worth every single penny. You have heard me rave about this pattern, and I'm not going to stop. And I have done a whopping 1 row on this pattern. Let me unfold it. So this is where I was last time, and I've done 1 more row. That's all I was able to do. And I am like, oh man, there's 2 skeins attached, and I have this much left of the darker one, and this is the last skein of the lighter one, so I'm alternating skeins every 2 rows. So what I am trying to do is figure out, they're on opposite sides, so I'm not going to try it on because it will just get in a tangly mess, but this is what it looks like. You can see the beautiful lace work. I'm so happy with it. And how many do I have left? How many repeats? I have 1 repeat and 6 rows left. I think last time I had 2.5 repeats left, so I don't know. I made a little bit of progress, not enough for my liking. But I guess if I love this pattern so much, then working on it all the time and it not being finished, it just means that I get to work on it longer, so that's not a bad thing. But I really want to wear it is the problem. So I just really, now that we're home, I want to finish the repeats and then maybe work on the collar. I don't know when I'm gonna have time to do that because it does require a little bit of brain power to see where I am in the pattern, but I don't know. You guys know I love that pattern so much. Now, are you ready to see a crochet project that you have not seen in literally like a year? I have not worked on this. It is living in this super duper fun, it's like bunnies and puppies, like skeleton pink bag that says made with love. Elizabeth from Crochet Cakes and her mom, Caroline, who is Mind and Muse on YouTube, made this for me. And on it, I put these enamel pins. This one says Yarn Loving Crochet Sisters. Whoop. And this is Crochet Luna. They're both from Crochet Luna. This was her very first pin ever. So exciting. And they're on this bag because they're my Yarn Loving Crochet Sisters and I wanted to keep them together. So the pattern, I'm gonna have to do a whole review because none of you in a very long time have seen this pattern. The pattern is out of the Shawl Project Book 3. This is by Joanne's Grace and Kat Golden. This is the third shawl that I have made out of this book. So let me show you the other ones. I made this one. Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. I made that in pink, and it's so fancy. I also made this one. This is called In Bud. I made that in blues. And this is the one I am currently making. It is called the Wisteria Trellis Shawl. It's actually designed for a gradient mini skein set, but I'm doing it in the solid colors. So this has been not touched in quite some time. I want to make one more shawl out of this book, so there's 5 patterns. This is the last one. It is a Tunisian crochet. It's called the Temperamental Artist, and it's a Tunisian crochet shawl, and I really want to make it, but of course I can't without finishing this one. So the deal is, I'm making the border out of this. This is a fabulous yarn that was sent to me by Lisa, who is Key Alexandria, a long time ago, and it is Indigo Dragonfly in the colorway Big Ben, the British Peanut. No one has still, to this day, told me what that means. What does that mean, Big Ben, the British Peanut? It's called the Chameleon Sock Base, 63% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and 17% silk. This is like, I had never used a yarn with cashmere in it before this, and I just knew that I wanted this border to be this amazing green. And then for the inside of the shawl, I am using, if I can find my tag, Knit Picks Gloss Fingering. This is a 70% merino and 30% silk. So it doesn't have any cashmere in it, but I thought that they went really well together because of the silk content. They're both a little bit shiny. I have 2 skeins of this. I think I'm only gonna need 1, but I haven't broken into the gray yet. The problem is, the reason that it has not been touched in so long is because the border is a 6-row repeat. And I, for the life of me, could not memorize it. Not even the whole time. I had to do it 36 times to repeat. I couldn't memorize it, and I had to look at the pattern. And it's not very difficult. I just could never figure out where I was without looking at the pattern for every single row. So I never just got around to it because I never had the brain power, but I also didn't want to frog it because it's beautiful, and I knew I would come back to it eventually. So what I did is I took this crochet project as my only crochet project for the cruise, and my goal was to finish the border, and I did. So, are you ready for this? I finished the border. Let me find where my stitch marker is so you can see. Okay, so this is how much I had done to right here. There's a little stitch marker. Before we left for the cruise, I had this much done. Not bad, not too shabby, you say. What I have done on the cruise is all of this. And I put the last stitch on the way home. My husband was driving back from the port, and this is the pattern. Hopefully you can see that. It's really, really, maybe you can see it like this better. It's really, really pretty. And so now what I have to do is use the stitch marker is, that is where I'm going to attach the gray yarn, and it's going to have decreasing rows. It's going to turn it into like this shape. And then I'll be able to wrap it around my neck. So the hard part is officially done. I am so thrilled. So thrilled. And of course it needs a good blocking because it's going to be like this. When it's blocked, I'm going to block it rather aggressively, but it's just like one of those shawls that I just knew I had to finish it. And I spent so much time working on this. I would just go out on the balcony if my husband was doing whatever, and I would just work on this and do a couple repeats and then do a couple more. And so I usually managed about 3 repeats because the rows are only, you know, you work it sideways, so they're only like this long. So I would manage about 3 repeats, but it still took me quite a while. So I don't know, I'm so excited. So excited. This yarn is beautiful. I'm thrilled to have it finally in a state that the border is done and I can just, the only thing I'm gonna have to think about is when I'm joining the yarn, and then after that there's one row to repeat until you reach the last stitch. So I think that the actual body of the shawl will go very, very quickly. Now, I have a couple of goodies that came in, but before I do, I want to give a very, very special shout out to a couple of people who make this podcast and all kinds of things possible, and that is my Patreon supporters. So this week I want to extra specially thank Elizabeth, Emmy, Erica. This is not your real name. It says IRYL Knits. I think maybe like in real life knits. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong. It doesn't have your actual name, but thank you as well as Ginny, Joyce, and Kimberly. Those are just a few of the Patreon supporters that support this podcast, and what they get in return from me is a special love letter once a week on Sunday mornings, and we have conversations about crochet as well as mental health, and we just try to encourage each other, and it's been honestly like the best thing ever. So if you would like to check that out, you can. The link is directly down below. I got the best thing in the mail, and it's from a lovely, lovely friend named Kalisha, who has a podcast, the Quirky Monday Craftcast, and she uploads weekly. So if you are running out of things to watch and you don't watch Kalisha, why not? You should be watching her. She's the best. She went to a benefit to Write Love on Her Arms, which is an organization that they do like anti-suicide. They do suicide prevention as well as prevention for self-harm. They offer a lot of resources to people as far as mental health, and it's an organization that I've known about for quite some time, like since college, and they're just fantastic all around. So she went to a show that they put on called Heavy and Light, and she got me this little print, and it is just the most beautiful thing, and I'm definitely going to buy a frame and put this on the wall. It says, "This is the season she will make beautiful things, not perfect things, but honest things that speak to who she is and who she is called to be." And this is a quote by Morgan Harper Nichols, and if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen some of her stuff because I am constantly sharing her things on Instagram. She's just the most amazing writer, like encouraging person. And this is fabulous. This is the most wonderful thing to me, and I am legitimately going to get a frame for it. I just have not had a chance since we've been back, and I'm going to hang it somewhere in the house where I can look at it every morning, because a lot of those inspirational messages are totally fine, but they're like, I don't know, they're like, hang in there, kitty. Like, they're just a little cheesy and they don't make sense. But this speaks to my soul, and it makes me want to cry, like happy tears every time I look at it, and it motivates me and inspires me, and I love this more than anything. So thank you so much, Kalisha. I know I said thank you already, but I feel like I'm going to say thank you like every time I look at this forever. I thought about taking it to work, but I just don't think I can. I need it to be at home where I see it like first thing in the morning. I think I'm going to put it over my dresser, or maybe like right next to my nightstand, and just read it every single morning. So that came in the mail before we left on our cruise the day before, and it just filled my heart with so much joy. The other thing is, it's only in black and white because I do not have a color printer anymore, access to one, but it's a pattern. So a viewer of this podcast named Ian sent me another Vicky Chan pattern, and it is a pattern that was off of my wish list on Ravelry, and it was next in my queue. Now, I'm not going to start this until my Ariana cardigan is finished and at least one more project is finished. I am like dying to finish something. This is like ruining my life that nothing is finished. And socks don't count. It has to be an actual project. I mean, socks are actual projects, but what's going to happen when I finish a pair of socks is I'm just going to start another pair of socks immediately, so it will help. So I already put that restriction on myself. I've got to finish the Ariana cardigan before I'm allowed to cast on another cardigan, and I have not even started working on the new design with the yarn that I showed you last week because I have to finish something first before I do anything else. Let me show you this. It is the Chelsea cardigan. Look at that lace work. And this is such a unique construction. So the Ariana cardigan is a very unique construction, and so is this, because you actually start with this back panel and then you build it out. And this comes in, let's see, sizes. There's only 2 sizes, but you can actually modify it just like the Ariana cardigan to make it as big or as small as you want. And size 1, let's see, so size 1 is like small, medium, large, and then the size 2 is the 1 to 3X. And so it goes up to a 58-inch bust circumference. So that's size 2. And if you need it to be bigger than that, or the smaller one is 23, so that would be 46 inches around. If you need it to be smaller than that, you can make it smaller as well with her adjustments. Let's see if I can find you. So if I can show you this without showing you the whole pattern, because it's paid for. This is what the lace work looks like on the back. Amazing, amazing. I'm dying to make this. I'm like obsessed with Vicky Chan now. I only want to make crochet patterns, and I went through all of her patterns and just put the ones I wanted on my wish list and in my favorites. So there's this one, and then she has one more. She has like a couple vest patterns and pullover patterns, but I don't really do pullovers. It's too hot, and I definitely don't do vests. That is not my style. She has another one, and I cannot for the life of me think of what it is, but it's this beautiful like white mesh cardigan. Just look at this chart. Just flash you quickly. So she has a written pattern. She has like schematic. So much in this pattern. And I just cannot wait to start this. I don't know what yarn I'm going to use. It depends on my gauge. I think I'm going to do a gauge swatch with wool-like, because I have some red wool-like in my stash. I have 3 balls, and at 700 yards a ball, that should be enough for this cardigan. Fingers crossed. I will have to look at the measurements one more time just to make sure. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. So what you need is 900, okay, so 820 yards. It says you need 820 yards for the size 1. Probably more than that, because I tend to crochet tightly. I'm not sure. And I probably am gonna want a little bit more length than she gives on this one, so I'm probably gonna make it like down to my hip instead of right at my waist. But if I can get close enough to gauge with the wool-like, I really want to make it out of wool-like, because I think that in red would be so stunning. So stunning. So that's my maker plans, as Kalisha would say. My maker plans for the week for that cardigan. So thank you, Ian. That was so thoughtful of you, and I'm very excited to start that. Now, it's time for life. So I'm going to give you a life update, because I have already gotten so many messages from people being like, how was your cruise? Was it great? Tell me all about it. So I'll tell you as much as I can. If you're here for the yarn stuff, it's over. Except for one thing, which I'll save till the end. Let's see. So we went on a cruise. It was paid for months and months ago, and we got a huge discount, like hundreds, like $600 discount, because it's in the middle of hurricane season. But we didn't have any hurricanes to deal with, and in fact it didn't even rain at all. It rained like sprinkled one day for about 20 minutes. That was it, which is pretty good for the tropics, I think. So we started at Port Canaveral, which is where NASA is in Florida, if you don't know, and we went first to the island that Royal Caribbean owns in the Bahamas. It's called Coco Cay, and we went there for our honeymoon, which was 8 years ago. We went on like a 4-day cruise. They have seriously spent some money in that island, like millions of dollars. It is way different, and we spent all day there just laying around. It was just me laying in different places. So we laid in one place called Chill Beach, where only adults were allowed, and then we laid by the pool where they had some live music, and then we laid in a hammock, and then we walked around, and then we went back to the ship because it was really hot. So that was the first day. The second day was a sea day. So we slept in, we had drinks. You know, the only goal I didn't accomplish was I never got a drink in a pineapple. They only had drinks in coconuts. Ridiculous. We had some drinks. There was a robot bar where robots make you drinks, which was super, super fabulous. And we took a nap, and then we went and saw, they had a production of Grease on the ship, which was very well done. Like, the musical was super well done. Although the message of Grease does not really hold up that well. Watching it as an adult, it's like, whoa. She learns to, like, there's a really nice girl who's with a guy basically over the summer, and then they go back to school, and then they're too cool. He's too cool for her. In the play version, this isn't the movie, mind you. And then the other girls are like a little bit mean to her, and what she gets out of it is that she should be, like, she doesn't want to put out, essentially, and he, like, gets mad at her, and then at the end, she, like, changes who she is. What kind of a message is that? I do not agree. Anyways, it doesn't hold up, but the production was pretty fantastic. So that was a sea day, and the third day we were in Costa Maya, Mexico, which is kind of a little town on the coast in the middle of nowhere. So we did an excursion, so we got off in Costa Maya, and then we went all the way to Seven Colors Lagoon. So it's not 7 colors like a rainbow, it's like 7 colors of blue, and oh my gosh, it was one of the most beautiful places I think I've ever been. The water was crystal clear. You could see there's no fish at all because there's too many minerals in it. And it's fresh water, and it's just the most gorgeous place. And we had there was this restaurant that was included in the excursion package. So we took a boat tour. We were in like the water for a little while, and then we had fresh fried fish. And I don't even like fish, but that was like the best fish I've ever eaten. Fresh fajitas and like homemade guacamole and salsa. And it was, oh my gosh, I ate so many seconds. And normally I like couldn't even breathe. That's how full I was. I felt like I swallowed a bowling ball, like just up to here with food, but it was 100% worth it. And that I got mixed up because we had 2 excursions, and one of them was like an hour and a half drive, and one of them was a half an hour drive. And I thought that this one was the one that was a half an hour, so I didn't take my crochet, but it wasn't. It was an hour and a half. And then the next day was the one that was a half an hour, but I thought that one was an hour and a half. So whatever. It was amazing. Costa Maya is like, you have to drive like 40 minutes to even get to a main road. That's how in the middle of nowhere it is. And they built essentially a port, and they have a little fake port town, and then 2 miles down the road there's the actual town where a few thousand people live, and apparently they have a tortilla factory. We did not get to visit because we really didn't have much time. By the time we got back, we had like half an hour in the port, and then we had to get back on the boat because they were leaving. So I feel like I would like to go back and check it out more. The next day we went to Roatan, which is Honduras. It's an island off the coast of Honduras. It has the 2nd largest reef in the world. We did an excursion where we went hiking through the forest. And I say hiking, it wasn't like super intense, but like if you were old or had any trouble walking, it was pretty steep in places. So the person who took us on the hike is an EMT and firefighter on Roatan, and he just does this in his spare time, I guess, to make extra money. So he took us all around. He was born and raised in Roatan, and we ate wild plums off the tree. It was amazing. And then we went to a little park after that, and they had fresh juice from the wild plums that was like squeezed that morning. And then we had cassava juice, which I've never had cassava before. It's a root vegetable. It was amazing. And cassava cake. It was so good. My husband did not eat his cake, so I ate his cake. Then they had a demonstration where they showed us how, because they have cashews on Roatan all over the place as well, how they harvest them and make them and roast them. So we had fresh roasted cashews. Amazing. And they full on like had a coconut and like husked it and chipped it off, and we all had fresh coconut to eat. It was the best thing ever. The best. And I only got like 7 mosquito bites, which may sound like a lot to you, but that's nothing when I am outside for more than 5 minutes. I mean, I did like fumigate everyone with my bug spray 7 times, but I got several bug bites. And then we went to a little beach, which was again amazing. Amazing, beautiful. Roatan is gorgeous, and the island is like only 36 miles, so you can't get lost. There's just one road that goes around the whole thing. And then we went back on, we had a little bit of time before we went back on the boat. So we went looking for chips because everywhere I go, I like to find chips that are unique to that place and eat them. So we got some like Honduran or Hispanic style Cheetos, like cheesy, like the poofy ones. They were amazing. And they were smaller and skinnier than regular Cheetos, and they were so good. And then we got back on the boat, and then the next day we went to Cozumel. And so Cozumel, we've been there before, which it's been a while. But the last time we were in Cozumel, we actually took an excursion and to see the Mayan ruins, and it literally took like 8 hours. So we went and we came back and we did not see Cozumel at all. So this time we did not book any kind of excursion, nothing. We went all around, we slept until we woke up. Then we took a taxi because the port at Cozumel is actually like 2.5 miles away from where the downtown area is, where all the shops are. We took a taxi, it was like $8. And we just wandered around all the shops and we literally bought like nothing. Like we wanted to buy stuff, but most of the stuff was like so touristy and gimmicky, we didn't really bother to do it. My husband found a couple of things that he wanted, but we were just wandering around, putting sunscreen on because it was blazing hot. It was so hot in Cozumel. In Roatan, it was warm, but not terrible. And in Costa Maya, it was fine. And Cozumel was like, we'll burn you in a second. Like, I am so tan now. This is really tan for me, guys. Okay? So we did that for a while, and then we were really hungry. But you know, all the places that are right next to the water or right near the touristy shops, like they're just like yelling at you to come in, and they don't even have like the good food. Like I want like a little hole in the wall local spot. So we went away like a little while away from where everybody was, and we found this little tiny burrito stand, and it was called Burritos Gorditos. So essentially fat burritos, run by one guy. There was one guy in there, he took our order, and then he made the burritos. And I had a chicken burrito, and so did my husband, and literally it was the best burrito I have ever had in my life, and I am dreaming about it, and I am so disappointed that I cannot have it anymore. Like it was truly, it was probably the most delicious thing I had the entire cruise, and I ate a lot of food on the entire cruise. Oh man, was it so good. So we had that burrito, then we went back to the port and we wandered all around and went in, and strangely, normally at the port things are more expensive because that's where all the tourists are, right? And then in the town it's a little cheaper. There was actually cheaper at the port. I don't know why that was the case, but so we did a little bit of shopping, and then we went to Senor Frog's, which if you don't know what Senor Frog's is, I'm not gonna tell you. If you know what Senor Frog's is, it's because you've been to Senor Frog's. And it's a tradition, and I say tradition because we've been there twice, but we went, I had a yard, it was delicious, and then I had an amazing sugar crash, so we got back on the boat and I went to sleep. And I don't remember what was that night. There was some kind of ice, it was a water like diving aerobics kind of a show on the boat, which was incredible. It was like a Vegas show. It was weird and so impressive. There was a tightrope walker, there was people flying around in the air, there was people diving like from stories up on the ship. So that was Cozumel, and then the final day was a sea day all the way back home. So from Cozumel to Port Canaveral, and that was beautiful because that's when I had my massage. And we went to, after the massage, we went to the hot tub. Oh no, we went ice skating because they have an ice skating rink on the cruise ship. And I'm a little wobbly because it's been a long time, but I actually can ice skate, like not good, okay, I can't do tricks, but I can go around. My husband had never been, so I made him try it. He promised me 8 years ago that he would go ice skating with me when we got married, and then we have never done it, so I made him. I had a blast. I'm not sure he liked it, but I had a blast. And then we were in the hot tub for a long time, and then we like ate food and had drinks, and we just hung out, and it was more relaxed. I was more relaxed that day than any other day. And then Sunday we came home. Sunday, why did Sunday have to come? I put my phone on airplane mode the minute we got on the boat, pretty much, and didn't touch it for a week. I didn't touch it for a week. That was the best part of the entire trip. I didn't even take it out of the room. I used it for like fan noises while we were sleeping because we were right under the basketball court. We were as high as you could get in the ship without being on like one of the upper decks. So there was people playing basketball until like 11 p.m. So we turned on fan noises. And let's see. Wasn't contacted. I didn't have my phone. I didn't know what time it was. No matter what day it was, I had no idea what time it was. We just slept until we woke up, and then we ate when we were hungry, and then we hung out, and it was fabulous. And I got to hang out with my husband, which we haven't done anything this year, just the two of us, because it's been a crazy kind of year. So that was really, really special to just be with him for a while. The people we ate dinner with were fabulous. And I wish it was one more day. I know people always say, oh, I wish it was longer, but I really do wish the cruise was one more day, because I feel like the first day, it just took me a day to calm down from everything that's been going on in life. So I kind of like missed a day of vacation, de-stressing myself, but it was fabulous. So thank you for all the well wishes and thoughts and prayers and whatever you were sending. We just had such a wonderful time, and I legitimately feel better. Like, before we left on the cruise, like, it's just been so many things this year that have gone wrong and have been terrible, and there's just a lot of so much anxiety this year, and I feel much more centered. And I really expected when I came home that I was going to be just as stressed out as I was before. Like, oh, I had a week break, and that's wonderful, but life would like get me immediately again, and I'm pretty calm, and I was not expecting that at all. So I'm not sure how long it's gonna last, but I'm really enjoying it. Other than this little cold that I seem to have gotten on Sunday when we got home. Like, maybe I got too relaxed and my body was like, whatever, I won't fight any germs, I'm just gonna go to sleep. So yeah, I don't know. We had a blast, and I'm sad to not be there, but I'm happy to be back with you. I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to have made so much progress on that crochet shawl. Oh no, my words are leaving me. This means it must be time to end the episode. But before we do, I have an extra special giveaway. So I got a little something when we were in Cozumel, and it is this little pouch. It says Cozumel, Mexico, and it says Cozumel on the back in blue and purple, and I thought it would be such a fun little notions pouch. So this, and I am going to include this yarn, which I'll pull one each out and show you. So the first one is La Mia Merino. It is 100% merino wool, and it's this beautiful pale pink. And then this other one is Gazal Silk and Cashmere. So it is 30% merino, 20% cashmere, and 50% silk. So this yarn is thicker for sure, but there's 2 balls of this and 2 balls of this. So you could maybe make like a cowl and mittens, or a cowl and a hat. I don't know, but it's beautiful. And this yarn was a lovely donation to this podcast, so I'm very excited to pass it along to one of you. So all you have to do to enter the giveaway, and you will know about the giveaway if you watch this long, is to go to the Ravelry group directly down below and answer the prompt that I will put up for this episode. And I will randomly draw a winner by the time I record next time. And just completely random. That's how I do all of the giveaways, unless I specify otherwise. And it can be anywhere in the world, just whatever pops up on my random number generator. Because like I said, the 2 people who won for Year of the Sock won from Portugal. So if you have projects, make them, join them into the make-alongs that we have going on, the villains now. And I don't care if you have works in progress. You can have any amount of doneness, like, enter it. Like, I want you to finish your projects. You do not have to start a new project for the villains now. You do have to start a new project for the Vanya cowl if you are participating in that, unless you are a tester. because of course you won't have the pattern until now. So hopefully you don't have a whip of the Vanya cowl if you have not been a tester of mine. But there will be some prices for that. Very excited. And I think that's all. My voice held up. I'm pretty excited about that. It feels a little scratchier now though. So I'm gonna go and I'm going to start importing this. And then I'm going to make tacos while this is importing because I am so hungry. So until I see you again in 2 weeks, happy crafting, join the make-alongs, join the giveaway prompt, be kind to yourself, okay? Okay, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, friends.